This week, KVMs are a hacker's dream. Hacking an e-scooter, Flipper Zero alternatives, the best authentication bypass, at least the best that I've seen this year so far. Pwning Claude code, ForiSIEM vulnerabilities and exploits, Microsoft patches, and secure boot fun, making Windows great again. Breaching the breach forum, congressional emails, unsolicited Instagram password reset requests. Is Meta doing enough to secure the platform? LLMs are HIPAA-compliant. Threat actors target LLM honeypots, all that and more on this episode of Paul's Security Weekly. This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where exploits run wild, packets aren't the only things getting sniffed, and the cocktails flow steady. It's Paul's Security Weekly. This episode is brought to you by Adaptive Security, the first cybersecurity company backed by OpenAI. AI has fundamentally reshaped the threat landscape. Today, the greatest risk isn't someone breaking into your systems, it's someone breaking into your trust. Deep fake voices joining your video calls. AI-crafted phishing emails that perfectly mimic your executives. Even synthetic job applicants entering through the front door. Adaptive Security is designed to counter these new realities. The company delivers real-time attack simulations that show security teams exactly what modern AI-driven threats look and sound like, and prepares them to respond effectively. Learn more at securityweekly.com/adaptive. Ever feel like your network infrastructure is stuck in the past? Meet Meter, the company reimagining what it means to get and stay online. Meter delivers full-stack networking, wired, wireless, and cellular, all in one seamless, scalable, and secure solution. From hardware design and firmware to software, deployment, and support, Meter streamlines every part of your network while giving you all the control and transparency you need. Whether you're managing a branch office, retail stores, or a massive data center, Meter gives you performance, reliability, and the visibility you need to stay in control. Thanks to Meter for sponsoring. Go to securityweekly.com/meter to book a demo now. That's securityweekly.com/meter, METER. Coming to you from the Hacker Syndicate Studios, this is Paul's Security Weekly. It's episode number 909, being recorded on Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. I am Paul Asadorian, joined by Miss Cat Mandy Logan. Mandy, welcome.
Why, thank you. And for those who listened last week, I even brought the bush wine bottle.
The bush wine.
Hey. The bush wine. And then Paul
it looks like you drank most of it.
Sure did. But and then today, the bush next to my front door gave me something very different. Murder hornets.
I heard that. I heard that in an earlier meeting. Yes.
Yes, you were on the
Were
call.
they in fact murder hornets or just?
They are definitely confirmed to be like ground-dwelling yellow jacket hornets that apparently, as they progress, become exceedingly aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, they're bastards.
I had to go get stuff to kill things.
That's good. Well, sometimes you do. Aaron Leland is here with the Officer Aaron Leland is here with us.
Hey, how's it going? I thought we should all wear hats. Just the top row on mine's wearing hats, but
there you go.
Thanks for having me again, and
thanks for adorning your hat.
For your super cool snow hat.
Mr. Lee Neely is not wearing a hat, but he's here with us. Lee, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I'll just say I've spent most of today out pulling down Christmas decorations, so I'm glad to be in without wearing any hat right now and warming up.
There you go. Josh Moppet is here with us.
Luckily, I found a damn hat because apparently it's mandatory today. I don't know.
Ended up being hat night here on Security Weekly.
If you want to go get my Verizon helmet. I don't know.
There you go. Quick announcement before we dig into it. Security Weekly listeners can save $100 on their RSAC 2026 All Access Pass. RSAC 2026 is taking place March 23rd through the 26th in San Francisco. To register using the discount code, please visit securityweekly.com/RSAC26. Use the code 56U5SECWeekly. I don't know if I'm going to RSA this year. Is anyone else going for sure? Do you guys know for sure? Josh, you're going?
Yeah, I'm going for Cyber Risk Alliance. I'm doing some interviews there. So
nice.
They've got like 40 interviews lined up.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I'll be out there interviewing people. If you want to get interviewed, find me.
That's it. So what's the good word? What do you guys want to start talking about?
I really want to talk about Confer, Moxie Marlinspike's one.
Yeah, I was reading that. I didn't actually. Oh, there we go. Lee's got a hat.
Yes,
there we go.
That's a great
Finally.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to decide between the fedora and the Security Weekly hat.
There you go. You might have to go.
Somewhere.
I've got a whole rack of Security Weekly hats in the studio that I need to probably save.
Yeah. Personally,
It's good.
I like them both. So
I do need to come drive
traveled
up.
a lot.
Nice. Yeah. So the Moxie Marlinspike story. I got to figure out this tab thing now. So what do I have to do?
Confer, I'm actually using it right now. I logged in from the story. Confer is an LLM that is using trusted execution environments, so confidential computing it's called, in order to hold all of the information that you give it while you're in an LLM session, so that nobody can see it, not state actors, not your hosting provider, nobody. So it's really, really cool. He's doing, and this is the tagline of the article, he's doing for LLMs what he did for ephemeral messaging,
right?
With Signal. And so Confer, you just log in with a Google account, or you can log in with an email password, and it generates a key that's session held in your browser, as far as I can tell so far. I haven't gone into that. It's stateful during the session, stateless. Once the session ends, it's gone and not recoverable.
So how does it access does it access an LLM?
It does access an LLM. I asked it what model it was. It goes, no, I don't use any other model. It's me. I'm like, okay, I don't know which model you're based on, but
okay.
So it's an LLM.
AI. It is an LLM. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was
LLM.
like proxying LLM. I was wondering how that worked because I'm like,
it looks very similar to any other LLM with a search bar, a new chat button, and
so it's
sidebar
the signal.
stuff.
It's the signal of LLMs.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. And you can import from ChatGPT. I'm just realizing this. So your data controls or Claude, you can import from Claude, your settings and such, and you can export data to Claude as well. So if you wanted to build something that you didn't want Claude to be able to, I'm not saying that Claude steals, but if you wanted to build something or design something that you didn't want Claude to be able to hand over to its creators, the people that have admin access to Claude's memory, you could design it in Confer, export it, and have Claude code it.
I love that because the artifact in Claude that I built requires that you give it information about your system. And I'm like, I'm kind of uncomfortable with that, right? So this goes back to a private chat we were having, and this is a great use case for Confer. So Adrian Sanabria was like, I spent like 4 hours troubleshooting this Linux thing, and ChatGPT sent me down rat holes, and it was awful. And I was like, well, in my experience, ChatGPT is not the greatest LLM for helping you troubleshoot Linux.
Garbage.
Yeah, it's good for certain things. Like I like ChatGPT for like travel stuff, even like shopping, like tell me where the best deals are kind of thing. It's good for certain things, but for troubleshooting Linux, it's pretty terrible. I said I like Claude, and I'm like, I do Perplexity Spaces. Claude's thing is called Artifacts, and it's different. I mean, it's the same concept, but Claude like uses its AI engine to help you build an app inside of Claude, and then that app can be published. It's actually pretty cool. But the app I built is called Paul's Linux Troubleshooter, and it asks you questions, right? So it builds context, because one of the things, if you just go to like ChatGPT and you're like, hey, why am I getting this error in Linux? Like, it'll go all over the place because it doesn't know the context of your question. And so I built a Claude artifact that you give it context. So I say, I'm running Manjaro. I'm Linux kernel 6.18. And this is the output of my inksy command, which gives you all the details about my hardware, right? And then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to ask you questions about like why I'm getting this kernel error message or whatever. And it gives you, I think, much better results when you build that context. But back to Confer, I don't necessarily want that data to be public or shared or any of that stuff. I want to keep that data private because it's information about my system.
Oh, Okay. So I'm literally playing with this as we're talking. I can see the costs starting to hit. Yeah. Let me explain. There's a membership for Confer, $34.99 a month, unlimited messages, unlimited chats, advanced models, personalization, blah, blah, blah. But the guest, which is free, is only 20 messages per day with 5 active chats and a basic model.
Sure.
Okay.
So they are limiting you pretty harshly, which Moxie, I'm not yelling at you. I get it. It's expensive.
LLMs are expensive, man. I mean, AI has changed the global economy. Can we safely say it has?
Yeah.
Right.
Look at RAM right now, for God's sakes. How much is RAM? And
So-
NVMEs. What were you talking about NVMEs the other day?
So here's the thing. I bought a 4 terabyte NVMe last Wednesday or Thursday. Mm-hmm. And now what's interesting is I used LLMs to help me find the right one, right? So I gave it my system build. I actually gave it a link to my system build because I published my system build for my workstation here in my home office. And I was like, look, I want to upgrade my NVMEs. And it's like, it saved me so much time because it was like, well, you can go from 3,500 megabits a second read write to 7,500 if you upgrade. I'm like, yeah, tell me how to do it. He's like, oh, well, you have 3 NVMe slots on your motherboard, and you're totally fine if you want to add, 3 new ones. You'll double your read write speed. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I'm like, go find me good stuff, right? And it gives me all the options. I ended up with this particular model of Western Digital that was reasonably priced. Some of the other Samsung and other manufacturers were slightly higher in price. I was like, yeah, let's go with Western Digital. And I ended up buying a 4 terabyte one from B&H Photo Video for $439, something like that, which is, I mean, that's pretty high, right? I mean, if you've shopped for NVMe in the past, you're probably $200-$300, somewhere in the past for that. But the engines told me, the LLMs told me, you should do this now, Paul, because prices are only going to get higher. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll pull the trigger. So I got a 4 terabyte NVMe for $439. And I ordered two 2 terabyte of the same model from Walmart. Walmart had the best price at $189. Now, keep in mind, a year or so ago or more, those were like $100. So they've been increasing. But $189 was a good deal for the 2 terabyte ones. Well, Walmart being Walmart, I don't know what is wrong with Walmart. It loves to mess with my orders. I don't know if anyone else has experienced this. Walmart's like, yeah, best we can do is ship you one. I'm like, all right. So Monday rolls around, and that's when I realized that I'm short 2 terabytes. Like I had a whole plan. I was gonna, use ButterFS to merge the two terabytes together with that awesome file system. And I'm like, well, now I can't do that. I'm like, all right, so tell me what's out there. I go back to B&H Photo Video on Monday. Literally a weekend has gone by. On Monday, that 4 terabyte NVMe is $1,000. It is more than doubled in price over the course of a weekend. The 2 terabytes are the same way. They're now like 4. They've doubled as well. And I'm like, well, I'm out. I'm happy with my 6 terabytes then. I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm not spending anymore.
By the way, as a consequence, I went to buy some spinning Rust hard drives for my QNAP, and they were like 3 different sites that I tried that normally have warehouses full of drives are out of 18, 20, and 22 terabyte drives.
And those have increased in price. I find not as much on the spinning drives.
Oh, yeah, not nearly as much, yeah.
But they are increasing in price. So, I mean, I hate to say it now on the pod, right? But like a lot of us build systems and are nerds and get into this stuff. If you haven't bought by the time you're hearing this, like it's too late. Now you're paying ridiculous prices. Like if you want to build a new PC, you're going to pay more than double what you would pay even a few weeks ago, which sucks. Which, I guess it's a good thing I've got all these computers in the studio. And I think right now I'm saving every single one of them, right? Because how do you afford building new ones? It's crazy.
It's
because we all need lots of computers.
I mean, come on. If you don't have 7 on your desk, what's wrong with you?
Dude, I think I have too many. Is there such a thing as too many computers?
Well, so I realized that I have a server over literally 30 feet away from me that has, I don't know, half a terabyte of RAM.
Yeah.
20 terabytes of hard drive space, enough cores to run 5 or 10 space shuttles. and I never turn the damn thing on because it's so friggin' loud and burns so much electricity.
Right.
And yes, I can run 70 virtual machines on it, and I don't need 70.
Yeah. But if you do, it's there. But don't get rid of it, dude. Don't get rid of it, because
I'm not getting rid of it.
We're not buying new computers anytime soon. If we are, they're not going to have RAM or storage.
I picked up a little HP mini PC for $250 or so, $300, somewhere in there, with an i5 and 32 gigs of RAM and and enough hard and like 512 NVMe in it. And I picked up some Cisco, I showed you the other day, some Cisco ATA switches or ATA systems, and I'm building an asterisk system on it. And I'm also going to run something or other. It's enough to run a couple of containers, a few VMs and a few containers. And I'm going to use that. And if I need more, you know what? I've got a NUC sitting around somewhere, and I'll do that. I'm going to have a series of mini PCs, all of which are going to be quiet as hell and have enough power to do exactly what I need and no more, and burn enough power that like 3 of these light bulbs are more than it.
Yeah. I have like 5 of those Kotom fanless mini PCs. And at this point, I'm keeping every single one of them. Like, because prices are just insane right now. I'm just keeping everything. I've got extra RAM. I actually swapped the RAM out on one of my other computers, and I'm keeping everything, just to have my own supply. Because it's like computers like crack to us. We need them. It's must have.
So I'm confused because this refers to Proton, and so Confer is using E2EE is Lumo provided by Proton. Okay, so why is Confer different than using Lumo from Proton?
Oh, is that like a similar AI privacy?
Yeah. Like, I very much enjoy Proton and their services. And in fact, just a few weeks ago, I recommended Lumo, especially to seniors or those who are not very tech savvy, that if they were going to use an AI chatbot, I encourage them to use Lumo. And this says another publicly available LLM offering E2EE is Lumo provided by Proton. But I thought that I just read something in here that says, I thought Confer was using something from Proton as well.
Is Proton Hushmail, or was Hushmail different?
I think Hushmail was different.
Hushmail still a thing?
I can't keep up. Hushmail's still around. I haven't used them in forever, but
yeah,
forever.
Like I haven't heard of it in a while. I don't know.
Lumo is separate from
Confer.
Confer. They may run. They may run on similar infrastructure. Obviously, working with the Proton group would be a good idea. They're good, smart people. But don't know. We'll have to dig deeper.
I know.
Dig deep, the gathering gloom.
That's it. Have you guys bought any of the new KVM stuff that we've been talking about that has hit the market in the past year or two?
No, because of you. It's all your fault.
I know. It is my fault.
I learned it from you.
I spoil everyone's fun. So I own a Jet KVM and a Nano KVM. I haven't done much with the Nano KVM yet, but I have been using the Jet KVM platform. And we've talked about it before. It's similar to BMCs, right? You buy a server class machine, and it comes with a BMC. And I've talked about Eclipsium's BMC research. My researcher, coworker Vlad, has identified. I think I lost track of how many vulnerabilities Vlad actually found in BMCs. One of which is actually on the Kev, which is pretty amazing.
Yay.
And but like this particular, so Pi KVMs are like $400 plus. And it was kind of filling that need of, if you have a system and it doesn't have a BMC or any kind of remote access, you can add it on after the fact, right? And there's a couple of different flavors. You can add it on, just connect it via HDMI and USB, or you can like put a card in the system or connect it to the system and put it on the pins in the motherboard that are for your power and reset. And so remotely, you basically have physical access to the system. And then manufacturers like Jet KVM, Nano KVM, GLINet, and others started making these sub $300, sub $200 devices that you add on that basically give you that same piece of functionality. We've talked about them in the past. I don't know why this one came up. This is an older article talking about the Run Zero research, which is very important. If you're using these devices, you should definitely read the article that I have in the show notes and Run Zero's research on it, as well as like the plethora of YouTube videos and Reddit posts of people talking about using these devices and some of the security concerns that people have with them. But I want to talk about some of the very interesting things that these platforms are providing. So in as I think about this more, which you can kind of read between the lines and figure out maybe what Paul might be working on, but all of those attack vectors you've ignored because it required an attacker have physical access, they are now in play over the network. So like let that settle in for a moment. Okay. Let your brains churn on that for a little while and go, oh yeah, like maybe you don't set a BIOS password. Maybe you don't restrict removable media or do other things that, or enable BitLocker because you're like, look, this is a desktop or a computer that I don't take with me, right? I'm not taking my desktop with me to the coffee shop, to a conference. I'm taking my laptop. In my laptop, I do more to thwart those physical attacks because it's with me, right? It's more of an opportunity for an attacker to have physical access to it. But the PC sitting in my home is very limited, right? We think about it. It's very limited as to who may have access to that. Someone has to break into my home to gain physical access to my PC. So I may not do things like enable BIOS passwords and enable BitLocker on it. However, if you're glomming on these inexpensive KVMs, it opens up the door to attackers to these physical attacks. As an example, bad USB attacks. We've talked about these since the attack was first, I think it was first presented at Black Hat USA in 2014. And the Ducky scripts and Hack5 has, really made a ton of tools available to the community to do that. The interesting thing about a lot of these Linux-based embedded devices that provide the KVM functionality is they have bad USB built in. In Linux, we call this USB gadgets. That's the facility that allows you to inject keystrokes over USB. And they have that built in. So it's basically like taking a rubber ducky and plugging it into your computer and giving it network access. So all of those attacks are now in play. Booting from removable media, right? You would set a BIOS password to help prevent that, right? To help thwart those attacks. However, and JetKVM is an example. I was actually looking at this feature. You can just go in and you can take an ISO image and say, hey, I want you to boot from this ISO image. You don't need access to the PC itself to do that. You just need access to the KVM in the management interface. And you're like, oh, here's an ISO image. You should boot from that. Let your imagination just kind of go wild for a second and think about the attack vectors that opens up for. It's basically like you have an attacker sitting on your PC. The other concerning thing for me is at what's the big tech show that happens in January in Vegas? CES.
CES. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. GLI announced that their newer line of KVM devices will have 5G connectivity. So if your plan is at an enterprise, which you should do, right? If your plan is like, look, I'm going to scan my network. Like maybe you have Run Zero. They're not a. I think they have been. They have been a sponsor on the show before. I don't think they are now. But I love HD Moore. I love the team. Todd Beardsley. Everyone at Run Zero. They make a great product. I would recommend that to inventory what's on your network. However, if your KVM device isn't connected to Wi-Fi or Ethernet, but is backhauling over 5G, you're not going to find that on your network. So that's a problem. Also, the third thing, authentication. In evaluating some of these devices, using them here in my home, some devices like JetKVM just require a password. There's no username. There's also no facility to restrict password brute forcing. And many of these devices don't, like JetKVM and NanoKVM, I'm not picking on people, I'm just stating facts. They don't support MFA. You can go search for it just like I did. They don't support MFA on those devices. So you're getting this device, you're plugging it in, you're putting it on the network. It gives attackers potentially physical access to your computer and is restricting how well you can actually secure that device, right? Now, you may say, well, I'll just put that on a separate network. I'll isolate it in a VLAN somewhere. But in order to use that device, you still need access to that. And if you have access, it means an attacker could potentially have access to it as well. Mm-hmm. And you all know me. I'm not a huge fan of that network isolation, put the vulnerable stuff on a separate network or VLAN and restrict it, because you're just moving the problem along. You're not actually solving the problem that many of these inexpensive KVMs have. So,
but the thing that I don't want, I agree that it's a weak provision by itself. But the part that keeps coming up, because people get this wrong, is don't expose management interfaces to the internet.
But it makes it so easy to manage things.
Right. You can sit at home. You don't have to do anything. You just put in the name or IP and bada bing, you're in. God, it saves me hours and hours. I get it. But the bad guys get it too. And so, I mean, yeah, don't just expose. That doesn't mean, though, that you're absolutely golden and secured because it's only available from a certain address range. It means you're less vulnerable. Would you go with that one, Paul?
Yeah, I think your exposure is much greater if you're exposing it to the internet. Run Zero did the research July last year. It said, hey, like we looked at Shodan and we found a bunch of these hanging on the internet. Like, that's bad, right?
Yeah, no, don't.
And then there's the ones that are just on a local network somewhere. That's not as bad, but still kind of bad. And then there's, folks that may restrict network access. That's much better. But it's still there. You know what I mean? Like, the vulnerability is still there. You're just kind of moving it around. You're reducing your exposure. I get you, Lee. I'm with you on that. You're reducing your exposure, but you're not like fixing the actual problems.
I mean, my response would have been reduce your exposure, turn on MFA and some logging, right?
Right. But if you can. That's the
you
problem.
can only do one of the three, right? That's what sort of your point.
Right.
Which kind of kneecaps me a little bit. But I'll still take as high a bar as I can get. But, actually what I'm thinking of, do you remember, because I'm old, back when with a KVM, you had a keyboard interface, a mouse interface, and a video interface that were not USB. They were simply those things.
I loved those. Yeah, they did get network connected, but back in the day, I think my first exposure to those was it very early in IT, like 90s IT. We had the ones from, now I can't remember the company. There was a company that made a whole bunch of like IT infrastructure gear, like racks and KVMs and stuff like that. Was it Black something? I think it was Black. There's people. Every time we do this, I like envision people listening to the show like in their car, yelling it at me, right? That they know what it was. It wasn't Black Magic. It was. I had some of these devices, and eventually I had some of these in my home. They had that proprietary, almost like a serial port on the back. Yeah, and that was a breakout cable for video, mouse, and keyboard that you connected to all of your devices or all your computers. And then you had to physically sit at one keyboard, video, mouse, and you could push a button. And more advanced, you could do a keyboard keystroke to switch between all the systems.
Oh God, do you remember that crap?
Yeah. Hey, it was huge when when the monitors were freaking gigantic
CRTs. Yes.
Remember when a 19-inch monitor was like 70 to 90 pounds?
I had them on like my Sun Microsystems servers.
So did I.
Right.
We had a whole safety briefing about don't hurt your back moving the monitors around.
Oh my God, that's hilarious, dude. Those Sun monitors were awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do you remember the 21-inch Sun monitors that were like 75 pounds?
That's what I'm talking about.
Massive.
They were cool. What was it? The twist lock connectors, the SDI connectors on the back.
Yeah. You had RGB and then horizontal and vertical sync.
Wait. I need to do this correctly. And back when I was doing the stone tablets, you had to chisel your own tablets. Oh my God, better than these wussies these days.
Oh man, you had to make your own chisel and and hammer before you could chisel the tablets.
You had to,
come on.
rub two sticks
so
together
damn
and
old.
hit it with a rock to get
Walked
it to
uphill
switch
to school both ways.
Wait, so I'm confused. Like right now, how often are ancient KVMs still being used? I mean, what I'm hearing is like the KVM will be likely running on firmware that's never been updated or changed, right?
Well, yeah. So
its
it's a
own?
great point, Mandy. In the evolution, there was no, back in the day, there was no network component to be able to like gain physical access other than a serial console, because we had that too. In the data center at the university that I worked for, there we had this device. I don't remember what it was, but you SSH into this device, and that device had serial cables to all of the Sun Microsystems servers that were in the data center, so that if something went wrong, I could connect to that device. There was like weird keystrokes that I had to use to navigate it and stuff like that. But I could then use a serial console and get into that system, even if it fell off the network or something was heinously wrong with either the software or hardware on the network stack. I could still get into it, and it basically saved me a trip down to the data center to be able to do that.
The reason I went there was because originally, when it came to keyboard access, whether it's a serial console or whatever, it wasn't a smart port. It was simply a keyboard port that was only a keyboard port. The mouse port was only for the mouse, and the video was only video. Now we have multi-purpose ports, which is, from a technology perspective, they are freaking awesome, but they're also an awesome attack vector.
Right.
Do you remember the moment the penny drop when you realized like some of the like the FireWire and something was actually a bus connector into the machine, and it's really cool, but it changes the threat. And where I point I was going with this is we really haven't evolved the security of our KVMs to reflect that we're not talking to a dumb port anymore. We're talking to a smart interface to the machine. And it's a hell of a lot easier to access and manage the machine now. I mean, that's really cool.
Right. Yeah, it be able to like rebuild a machine remotely over a BMC is amazing technology.
Yeah, it still blows my mind. I think it's really neat. Oh, by the way, on going back just half a second, Josh, there was the last mountain man in Idaho, this guy named Buckskin Bill. He would build projects, but before he built a project, he built the tools to make the project. No kidding. Yeah. So if he needed a special knife or scythe, he'd make that first, and then he'd build the thing he was building.
I've done that.
And what was his craft like?
He was survival. This was during the Depression.
Okay.
He went out and moved into the wilderness. He could live on like less than $50 a year's worth of stuff, and he built everything and made everything else he needed. He became a mountain man. And my point was, though,
died at
talk
51.
about building something before you build something. That was the guy.
Yeah. Well, it's the compiler to compile the compiler to compile the compiler to build.
Well, I mean,
tools.
we don't do that anymore, but hey, it's cool when you find somewhere where somebody actually did it.
But I it's interesting. I was talking to one of my coworkers too. We were talking about KVMs.
Yeah.
And it's Linux isn't everything. Like the answer or when you uncover something and dig into it's Linux. Like the answer is Linux. And manufacturers are still very poor at doing Linux securely when we have these facilities to make it secure. Like this is a reoccurring theme. Like we've understood KVM technology since the age of the dinosaurs when we were first in data centers, collectively, all us old people, right? And we understood the problems, but these problems just keep cropping back up, right? These same security issues just keep cropping back up. Like, how do we protect this physical access? And once we think we have it solved from the enterprise standpoint, the Chinese manufacturer is like, oh, we can make this technology available to the masses, and then it's everywhere.
But it's totally in China's interest to build these with as many vulnerabilities as possible. And on the same
true.
news sort of publication,
You've got not only do you have a police officer hat, you have your tinfoil hat on tonight, Aaron, which I love.
Well, it's not a tinfoil hat if you actually needed to protect yourself from the rays. But like in mid-December, talking about the KVMs, they actually found a microphone inside one of the KVMs. And why would you possibly need a microphone in it? And it also had...
What's interesting, Aaron, is so that's from SciSpeed's nano KVMs were found to have that. And what's interesting is they actually market it as a feature now. When I was looking at GLINet's website, they disclosed that. I don't think they did before, to your point.
No, that's what
right?
This article says. I think
now they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, that was a feature.
Because what you need in your KVM, in your server room, I don't know, to hear if the mice are eating your cables or something like that.
Yeah, I'm struggling with the use case as well, Aaron. When I saw that, because I read their CES announcements, and I was like, oh, they're coming clean. And they're like, yeah, by the way, they actually market it now as two-way audio communications in your KVM. And I'm like, because, okay,
Oh,
like
crap,
I get it.
I know
like,
why. I know
maybe
why.
there's a technician physically there.
Yes.
And you
that's
want to
what
talk with them. But
yeah.
You've invoked smart hands at the hosting center.
But my
Right.
first thought
And-
was, doesn't that person have a cell phone? But then my second thought was, does your cell phone actually work in the data
Right.
center?
Because I was thinking if it's a secured facility or something
may-
else, like
right,
they wouldn't
right.
necessarily have other communication protocols easily available.
And why did they make the microphone so small that it must have been more expensive than a bigger one so that it was hidden?
No,
I mean,
small
that's
microphones are
tinfoil.
cheap.
Yeah, that's tinfoil. I think that's a little tinfoil hat, Aaron. I see where you're going, but I think that's just what was cheapest to add to the device. You know what I mean?
Well, you can all think that, but I think China is the biggest wealth transfer in the world, and they actually have government bodies set up to hackers and steal our international property or intellectual property.
I know.
For sure.
I don't disagree. I don't.
No, that's
trust
already
China.
happened for
I don't
a
trust
lot.
China
That's-
either. I don't trust it either. I really don't.
I want to fly through there soon, and I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to fly direct to Japan and not go through China.
When are you going?
I want to go snowboarding there very soon, but I'm not telling
nice.
anybody because in case I have to touch down. I don't know which passport I'm going to use yet.
I'm thinking like Aaron's like the secret agent that has like that whole plethora of passports. Like, which identity do I want to be on this trip?
And I made them on Nano Banana or whatever it's called.
Right.
I realized I had to change
You should not
hats.
comment on if you're planning to go to China. You should not comment anymore about
Seriously,
China.
dude.
Yeah, I should have
'Cause now you're-
stopped 3 years ago.
I know. Now you're going to be on a list, man. Now you're going to
Going to be on a list? Going
Already on a
to be
list,
on a
dude.
list.
Yeah,
already
China,
on the
North
list.
Korea,
They're already listening.
Iran,
They're tuning into the
Russia.
live stream. They're in the live stream right now listening, going, Aaron Leland got his picture right when he comes into China. You're going into the room. The room that was always described to me was it was a metal folding chair in a concrete room with the light bulb hanging, just one light bulb, like hanging from a string, kind of swinging. Yeah. And you're tied to the metal folding chair.
Drip, drip.
I feel like that should be a
Drip.
game at DEF CON. Drip. I feel like
See how long you can stay there for the whole of DEF CON.
Don't even go there.
Do you know
dude.
how
That's
many
horrible.
people, like how many reclusive nerds would stay there the whole time? Like easy?
it's true. Until they start pulling your fingernails out,
Details,
that.
details.
you know?
It's just
Or
part
take
of the
their
mani
flipper
pedi,
zero
no biggie.
off them.
It's a beauty. It's-
After today's outage, I realized I had to put on this hat.
Was there a Verizon outage?
was that the
today?
Verizon thing? Oh,
Yeah, 170,000 down detector reports today.
Yeehaw!
So basically, Verizon was down across the U.S.
Really?
The wireless, the cell phones, which
Oh,
meant
cell
also
phones.
any.
I was
any
going to say,
well,
internet-wise, I've been good, knock on wood.
FiOS have been good, but 5G, if you had a 5G internet for your house or your business or whatever, you might have been screwed today. I have no idea of why, but it was probably the intern and it was the DNS. Let's be clear, it's always the intern and it's always DNS.
Yeah, certificate ran out.
Either that or somebody put in a lovely BGP error and yeah, problems.
and rerouted it to China. I'm not going to talk about this
Details. So I had to put on the special hat to show that,
Yeah.
good for the engineers. Bravo. Take it down.
The person that sent me this special hat today had a Verizon outage. They were
speaking of China, I was thinking about last week with our Haribo. Was it last week you talked about the Haribo battery pack?
Yeah, Haribo. Yeah. The gummy bear battery pack filled with bad lithium.
Now I'm nervous about ordering stuff with batteries from China, right? And I have a lot of like devices, electronic transportation devices. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a big fan of the Segway stuff. I got a couple of Segways. I'm a big fan of e-bikes. I feel like I was pretty early with the e-bike thing. I got an Aerial Rider, and recently my e-bike from Aerial Rider, which people are trashing the company. I don't know. I think they've been great to me. I had a problem with my e-bike, and it was out of warranty, but they're like, it's $100 for a new control board and screen, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And they sent it to me, and they sent me instructions in the whole thing. I think I talked about a previous show how they wanted me to troubleshoot it.
Mm-hmm. You did.
With the twist tie, they're like, take the metal out of take the plastic sheathing off of a twist tie and use that to test the connection. I'm like, I have a really nice multimeter. I don't need to hack stuff. Like I have a really nice multimeter that I'm like dying to use for this application.
So you're saying I should lick it?
Yeah, yeah. But I'm like, as all of these devices become more popular, they're going to need maintenance, and there's also this like right to repair thing. So I was listening to, and this will come up as a theme in the show because it's fresh in my mind. What was the podcast I was listening to? Lock and something. Cory Doctorow was on this podcast talking about the right to repair. Man, is he smart. I love Cory. We've interviewed him on the show before. That man talks so intelligently. Like he has so much knowledge about these issues. And I was like, I was reading stories now about people with these particular e-bikes from Aerial Rider having problems, batteries dying. How do you get a replacement? And some people are like, well, just order from AliExpress. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. But what happens when you're, in this person's case, my story number 6, your e-scooter has an app and it's cloud connected. A lot of the Segway stuff has a similar kind of app. Many of them have Bluetooth on them so you can control the device. So an Estonian researcher, Rasmus Moratz, bought an e-scooter, and then the company ended up going Chapter 11. And the app in the cloud that controlled the scooter started to lose functionality. So it wasn't like all functionality was lost. It sounded like some of the telemetry about how many miles you traveled with it was being stored in the cloud, and they turned off their cloud. And he was concerned, rightfully so. He's like, what if I lose complete access to this device or it just stops working? And then I basically have like a pile of metal and electronics and lithium batteries that doesn't do anything. So we started reverse engineering it. And so when he looked at the Bluetooth stack, he was trying to figure out how he could basically write an app to control his own scooter. And what he realized was that the Bluetooth key was the default one for that manufacturer, not the manufacturer that made the scooter, but where they got the electronics from, the Bluetooth device from. It used their default key, which means he could control everyone's e-scooter. Now, since the company's Chapter 11, they can't fix the issue because they're done. Right. They're done. And he's like, well, I can control everyone's scooter. So he ended up writing like a Python script that allowed him to control his scooter, which is awesome. I mean, it's a great read. I love the research so much, but I hate that companies can get away with this. Mandy, you're wearing the hat from Cat, and Cory Doctorow was talking about, and I'm not sure if this is how Cat works in this particular scenario, but with what Cory was saying about John Deere, he's like, farmers still can order parts, can service their own equipment. However, in order to make that new part work, they have to enter the authorization code to make that work. And there's some cryptographic way It doesn't allow you, even if you buy the official part from John Deere. He also talked about ventilators being the same way. You swap out a screen and a ventilator, yeah, the new screen, it'll work fine, but you got to enter a code in order to tell the firmware that that screen is authorized to talk to the device, which means you have to bring a service technician out to then enter that code. But guess what? During the pandemic, when airports were shut down, technicians couldn't get out to the hospitals to do that. And that's one of the reasons why we didn't have enough ventilators. I'm like, well, that's messed up. I just hate all of that. And I hate that companies are still allowed to do that. And he talks about the whole history about the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and how that came to be and the whole thing. It's fascinating.
Nice. That would have been a great podcast.
It is. I'll pull up. What podcast is that?
Yeah.
Lock and Code. It's from Malwarebytes. It's Malwarebytes Lock and Code. And the term that I believe Corey kind of assigned to this particular behavior is a term that I love. And the term is Inshitification.
Is that like for new iterations?
This is the Inshitification of technology.
Right.
When private equity buys a company and all of a sudden all they're after is value extraction, that's Inshitification because the service goes down. Like for example, fuck it. For example, look at VMware. Okay.
Well, it's not so much that, Josh. It's more about right to repair. It's more about
that too, yeah.
Companies can bring a product to market. They can lock people in, and it's illegal for you to make software and or hardware to unlock that stuff. So it would, if we were to collectively get together as hackers and go, oh, your ventilator, you want to save people's lives. I can hack those ventilators so you can put a third-party screen on there so you don't have to go to the manufacturer. We would be sued into oblivion and potentially face prison time if we did that, according to the DMCA, if I understand it correctly. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. That's the gist that I got, which is awful.
So, as I recall, there was a lawsuit or something at John Deere that has been settled, and they've agreed now to allow farmers to repair their own equipment.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because they've got all kinds of hacks for those devices to make them more effective in the field. And John Deere wanted a piece of the action. They wanted to take the hack and sell it to another farmer.
Right.
Which, and if I'm misquoting it, it's been a while since I've looked at this, but it was really crazy. And I'm thinking, oh, come on. Just let them fix their stuff and get the crops in because we all need to eat.
Right.
You know?
But I go back to, the e-bikes. So my e-bike's no longer being manufactured. Like what happens when my batteries die? That's
because you can't just go get some batteries from random.com and throw them on there, can you?
So so what's interestingly is I found a local place because I was like, I'm preparing for this scenario, right? And I'm like, so what happens when my manufacturer's done? And they're like, you're screwed. Now, they do still make parts available for it. Like I said, I bought the control. The control board was $100. I think they charge $750 for a new battery for it. So I do have an option, but there's a local place that services e-bikes. And one of the things they do is battery reconditioning. So they'll go through the work
that was gonna be my question.
of taking apart the battery, testing each individual. It's probably a bunch of 18650s, testing each one, swapping them out. But could I do that myself? Yes.
Right. That was going to be my next question.
But it's also dangerous. It's also kind of dangerous too, right? It's dangerous. And there's also firmware and electronics that play into that. Your battery management system, it's not just batteries. There's a microcontroller in there that you have to be concerned about as well.
Yeah. Don't fry that.
And do you have to hack the firmware to get it to, if you have a third-party battery, you got to get the same BMS that has to talk to the thing. It's very similar to your John Deere parts. Sorry, Mandy, you had comments there.
Oh, no. Well, first on the battery, no, my first question was going to be how's it configured and why, can you replace the cells yourself? That would be...
Right. That's probably all they're doing is they're preserving the original BMS microcontroller, and they're just testing all the cells. I've seen that. I've actually watched videos testing all the cells. But you got to know what you're doing because as we've seen, batteries explode. It's dangerous, right?
Isn't that
I don't
the
trust
drill?
myself. I don't trust myself necessarily to do that.
Don't
But it's
you
good
just
to
put
know
on-
there are technicians. I like that it's creating a new market of skilled people who I would happily pay money to go, you know what? I got a lot of things on my plate right now. Like, one of the things I don't want to do is rip apart my batteries for my e-bike and start testing every individual cell and putting replacements and soldering all back together. Like,
So
that sounds
maybe the
fun and all,
iFix
but
places will just expand.
Mhm.
You know,
Just
where you
add
drop
new
off your
cells.
cell phone. Right. They'll just add
yeah.
that, or the battery store.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so the batteries can explode. So you just need to wear the face shield like I fashioned from the glass pot lid earlier.
Oh my God, that was the weirdest.
I need
what
like
the
a
hell is she
bomb, like a
doing?
bomb. I need a
Wait.
bomb tech suit to go work on my batteries.
She was like, I have an apron, I have dishwashing gloves, and I have a glass pot lid that I'm tying. She tied it to her damn head.
Yes, it was tied
not
around
the
my
way you
head.
want to work. My friends have
No.
cautioned me when working on this battery technology.
Oh, dude,
Especially
I
Segway.
actually showed my wife once. I'm like, all right, let's screw with this. I took an old laptop battery and a rather large knife and went in the driveway and stabbed it, and then all of a sudden,
Oh yeah, dude. You get fire that you just have to watch. There's no
Yeah, you
putting
sit
it
back.
out, right? Yeah.
Matter of fact, when I was a fireman, that was several years ago, and electric cars were just coming out on the market, and they told us, don't try to put them out.
Yeah.
Just sit
Let 'em
back and
burn.
drown the surrounding area. Do not try to put them out.
So contain them.
Yep. Surround and drown. That's it. Have a nice day. You're going to be there a long time.
How are they disposed of? Does it change?
What, batteries?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. After it's been on fire, does it change? It's like no longer an issue, and you can dispose of it however you want to. It's now just
after it's
plastic?
like burned out.
Yeah.
You put it in a truck and you put it to the landfill, like it goes away. I mean, there's hazmat aspects, but most of the hazmat just gets burned out.
Right.
That's what
That
I
was
was
actually
asking.
the question I was going to ask. Is the hazmat get burned out? But-
I believe so.
Begs the question,
Yes.
though. Begs the question from a cybersecurity hacker perspective: can you light things on fire remotely?
Absolutely.
Apparently you can.
Oh, you can light You can light things on fire remotely. Have you ever heard of
Remotely.
a detonator?
Now we have to ask, can it be done through
But
tiny
without a
microphones?
detonator, I'm just saying, like, without additional hardware, what can a remote attacker do to affect change that would result in a fire? We've talked about this in printers. Remember printers? We're like, oh, someone hacked into a printer.
The fuser. You can
but
overheat, you can overpower the
there's
fuser.
physical safeguards in printers, from what I understand, that we've talked about in years past. But now we've got all these new fancy electric devices like scooters and all this stuff. Could remotely an attacker, again, without the pager Israel, pager hack, which was changing the hardware in the supply chain, which is a different conversation, but could you affect change remotely on a device without impacting the supply chain or changing the hardware, cause physical damage in a fire?
Yeah, because if you can change the charger voltage of the battery charger for whatever battery you're talking about, you can overcharge a battery and start it. Aaron, am I right? Yeah?
Yeah, I think you could keep pumping into it, right? And not have an automatic
I think you
cutoff.
could more so. From what I understand and have researched, you could destroy the device, but setting it ablaze so that it sets other things on fire.
A lot of the battery chargers suck. If you take the
that's
battery
true,
charger and you can set it to over voltage, which you easily can do, and a lot of them are software or firmware controlled. I wish there were companies that would check the firmware on this stuff. But anyway,
that's why it comes into my conversations, Josh.
But you can set the battery charger to overvolt. If you can overvolt it, you'll puff the battery. Once you puff the battery, if you keep overvolting it, like Aaron said, then it will eventually pop, start heating up from the release of the hydrogen gas, and start on fire. And then you will destroy the device, the battery, the charger, the evidence, and potentially anything around it, because those things get hot. I actually went through my house and started going, okay, where do we have lithium-ion batteries? Because we have, look, you said it earlier, we have so many computers. How many laptops do you have that you're like, oh crap, I forgot I had a laptop over there?
Yeah. Or just random electron, like, those hoverboards and all that stuff. we've seen stories where that stuff catches fire.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, remember Michael Assanti?
Yeah.
Getting the what is it? He caused the generator to catch fire and blow itself apart over at Idaho Lab.
Right.
A few years ago. Sorry.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, but it was still cool. But it was sitting in the back of my brain. I was trying to come up with the name Assanti, believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace. Yeah.
No, he was awesome, and
miss him greatly. Yeah.
Yeah. And
but it's a great example.
He left too soon.
Agreed. And I knew Michael. I'd met him several times. He was a great person, and I think it was largely misunderstood. I think when people do stuff like that, it gets labeled as stunt hacking. And I think in the context of this conversation, I want to be like, we shouldn't look at this stuff as stunt hacking. I mean, back to Aaron's point about being skeptical about China. This is the kind of shit that keeps me up at night. Mm-hmm. Like in one fell swoop, can China set fire to shit here in the U.S.?
But isn't that what we talked about with the solar panels?
Yeah.
Is that why you're talking about it?
Backdoors in the solar panels, right? They have 5G modems in those solar panels. What could they do with that? You're right, Mandy. Could they set shit on fire? Like, that's bad.
It's got to only be possible if they've probably to definitely make it happen, put some sort of igniter in there, right? Anything else would be pretty hard.
And that goes back to the Israeli, pager,
right?
Pager thing, which is still a concern. Yeah. Which is still a concern, by the way. Powers. If you can affect the supply chain,
right?
Aaron, to your point, and put yourself in a better position to make things go boom, if you will. That is
call
concerning.
On Mr. Market before he explodes.
Yeah.
Think about the solar power. If you have programmable, movable arrays, you could push all of them to point all their to reflect sunlight at a certain point and set buildings on fire.
Start a forest on fire anyway.
I know. Well, I mean, have you ever used a solar mirror?
Absolutely.
Have you guys looked? But if you looked at the Anchor, whole house battery packs, tempting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a UPS on steroids, right? Like
the Anchor Solix, I think it is, right?
Yeah, Solix. Thank you. Not to give them a product plug, but also like really cool shit.
They could send us each one, and then we'd give them a product plug.
And then we'd give it. Yeah,
that would be nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They ran some great sales, and I almost pulled the trigger. And I was talking to my electrician, like, "How are we going to do this, dude? Like, I want to do this. This is cool." Like, if you could have but my concern is from a cybersecurity perspective, what if someone hacks into that stuff? Those Anchor, what is it? Solix?
Solix, Solix, yeah.
Dude, their battery banks are massive. Like, they replace your gas generator.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is crazy to think about. But there's a lot of power sitting in those things. If someone could affect some kind of change that set that shit on fire, it's more than your laptop, right? It's more than your hoverboard. That's a ton of power.
So you're saying you want to detonate that?
If you could, that would be really bad. I mean, the next level from that is a car, right?
So let's be clear.
Which
by the way, the Solix thing, when I looked into it, just in a side note, you can use your gas generator to charge your battery bank. You can also use your battery bank to charge your car. That's how much power output you can solar power, like solar charge your Anchor stuff. I'm like,
wait, so if that's possible, and you're saying that stores from solar power.
Yeah, you can get solar panels that will charge your Anchor Solix array. Right. And you can add, like, you start small and you can like add a whole bunch of banks to your Anchor array.
But remember, Mandy, if you run a generator, like a gas or diesel generator to charge your battery bank, you're running the generator at its optimum efficiency the entire time, rather than as load gets put on it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
so you're getting the maximum power out of the juice that you put into it. So even just using a gas or a diesel generator to power the battery bank is still more efficient than using the generator to run your house.
Oh, that's good to know. I want this now. I need this in my life.
Well, so how does that differ then? And wouldn't that be a much more compact and efficient way to allow solar power on a house than people doing the freaking expensive solar panels that.
See, everybody thinks that battery and solar is the only way to go, and that's not true. There's Edison Motors. Sorry, this is something I've been studying for a little while. Edison Motors is actually a trucking company based out of Canada that's building logging trucks that are electric axles for the logging trucks because they're amazing torque and power. But instead of using solar or a charging point, they have a small diesel generator where the engine used to be. Mm-hmm. But this generator is tiny compared to, I mean, still a decent size.
Less, right. Using less fossil fuels, right.
It's tiny compared to the big diesel Caterpillar engine. And by the way, they are using Cat diesels, just to be clear.
Are they?
They do use Caterpillar.
Well, I think
we're
sponsored by Caterpillar now, right?
But what they're doing,
it's a very nice hat, by the way.
I put on a hat and now we get sponsored. Excellent, I like it.
It's awesome.
But their Edison Motors is building these engines to be incredibly efficient to charge the batteries, because the infrastructure of Canada and the infrastructure of the U.S. doesn't have the power generation or transmission capacity to charge 10,000 electric, 18-wheeler or whatever, triple axle logging trucks. But you can run that generator so efficiently comparatively that it's not even funny. And you can use biodiesel, and you can use regular diesel. You can use whatever. The point is, it's a much more efficient way to do it. So you can use a generator. As a matter of fact, batteries are friggin' expensive. Solar panels and the installation therein are friggin' expensive. So if I can get a surplus military generator from GovPlanet, not that I've thought about this, and power my battery bank that way. So I buy the batteries, I buy a cheap generator to power them.
Right.
And then the year after that, I have the money, I go do the solar. Hey, you do it in stages. It's not stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to lecture.
No, that's what I'm thinking with the anchor stuff too. Lee, I was trying to figure out which story of yours was my favorite.
Oh, I've got a favorite.
I think
Oh,
based
wait,
on personal experience, your story number 4.
Yeah.
Instagram denies a breach amid claims of 17 million account data leak.
Yeah. I mean,
and what struck me is the little snippet I included there about how unsolicited Instagram password reset requests are not related.
Yeah.
This happened to me. This happened to me with Facebook, which, again, same Instagram. It's all Meta, right?
Right.
And the shenanigans that I believe are low-skilled attackers that are preying on this platform of both Instagram and Facebook, both Meta properties, right?
Right.
They're conducting. They're using like information gathering, social engineering techniques to profile you. They have these like rudimentary ways to try and get into your account via password resets and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure on the details. Tyler could probably fill us in. He's like my go-to when this shit happens. And like I was under attack by this kind of stuff too. Like I could totally tell the attacker was like profiling me on social media, using that information to try and social engineer me into a situation. And I just ignored it because I was like, I'll call your bluff, like screw. And then I also, in conjunction with that attack, also got like password reset emails. They're like, hey, are you trying to reset your password? So there's something there. There's a thread to pull on where that's why in the opening of the show, I was like, is Meta really doing enough to curb this attack?
Well,
and I don't want to give Meta a pass, but I also want to point out that Meta probably has the most the highest number of users on social media to protect as well.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I don't think they're doing a great job to protect their users.
There's definitely they're not doing enough, because when you get a certain amount of followers on Facebook, it gives you advanced security options, and you only get them because they turn around and go, oh, you're look like you have a lot of followers.
Because you're providing more value to Meta than other people. Therefore, you get more security options, which is bullshit.
It's like how more expensive can it be just to give you a few more buttons to click?
Right. It's kind of like the casino. Like, are you paying the penny slots, or are you in the high roller area? Right, you get treated differently.
So I'm reminded. I'm reminded of similar instance where like they're generating fake, we got to fix your account. So they're doing a credential harvest kind of action, or the other ones, oh, click to fix this. Now paste this code into your run window.
Yeah.
I mean, it's PowerShell. It'll be fine, right? Not obfuscated at all, except for the obfuscation part. And I'm wondering is whether Meta is doing enough. Can we do enough to tell users, like, don't fall for this crap?
Right.
If you need to set, or you want to change your password for Instagram, Facebook, or whatever the hell, go to that app, click on its change password link. Don't go after an unsolicited email that says, hey man, change your password, because what could go wrong, right?
Yep.
And oh, by the way, maybe look out on Have I Been Pwned?
But also, Lee, they're victims of their own success, right? Like, the more popular a platform becomes, a la Microsoft Windows, the more attackers are going to focus on it.
Absolutely.
And attackers are focusing on Meta because there's billions of people using their platforms.
Is Meta offering passkeys yet? I'm trying to remember. I know they have some multi-factor things.
But even if
I
you
hope
do
you have
that,
on, but
even if you do that, the other thing that grinds my gears about Meta's platforms is how easy it is for low-skilled attackers to take out your account. Like, I've personally witnessed like people who have an account and maybe some sub-accounts that are associated with it.
Yeah.
And middle school teenagers report those accounts as abusive, and therefore that person's account and all of their accounts associated with Instagram or Facebook get banned.
Chuck you, Farley.
That's because in Darknet Diaries definitely did an episode on this that leads me to believe, because they're using AI. So all you have to do, like, you can game the system and just be like, oh, I'm reporting you for abuse, and all your shit gets banned because there's no humans involved gate checking all of this banning. So, like, we're in this, like, basically a video game. It's like, well, I'm going to get your account banned. I'm going to get your account banned. Like, it shouldn't be that's not how it works. It shouldn't be how it works.
Yeah, I know someone that I was speaking to recently, and I was like, dude, why have you got 2 Facebook accounts? Which one's real? Yeah. And he's like, one of them got hacked, and I reported it. Some friends have reported it. Loads of people have reported it. They've not taken it down. And for a really long time, the person that's taken it over has been selling used cars from it, like from his account. So I think it's quite easy to monetize these accounts, especially.
Have you listened to the Darknet Diaries where he talks about the bicycle theft?
No.
Like, people legit sell stolen goods on Facebook.
Like, just a marketplace through hacked accounts.
And it goes, I've talked about
dude,
the show
it's
in the
not
past,
even
right?
hacked accounts.
It's like,
stupid.
Dude, it's just like they let crime happen because their AI can't keep up with it.
But a hacked account's going to look better, right? Because it's got a lot of followers, and the followers look real and stuff.
So they're trying to take over. It's like the Meta properties have become the most easily of social media. It's just, there's so many shenanigans going on there. Meta can't keep up. They're trying to turn to AI to help police it, which is, I look at your hat and I say the word police and I giggle, but they're trying to police it and they can't. They can't make all the right decisions with AI. We've all used AI. It doesn't always make all the right decisions. Meta's doubling down on AI to help police their platform, but it's not working. People have literally came to Meta and gone, I have all this evidence that people are committing crimes, like using it as part of their criminal enterprise on your platform. And they're like, well, like, our AI didn't pick up on it, so it's not real.
And I guess they just don't have the humans anymore to look into this, right? When you do,
but this is the problem. I mean, this is a huge problem today that I'm experiencing at work. When you start cutting the workforce, there's not enough humans to look at the things they need to look at, and you're left in purgatory. You're in purgatory at that point because there's not enough humans to look at the things.
So I want to go back to Lee's point on something that happened yesterday on a burner number. I got 2 messages very rapidly to Linda to reset her Facebook password. I didn't go further on it because I don't care, because I didn't set up a Facebook account linked to this number or anything. Right. So unless it happens to be a number that used to be owned by a Linda who can't get into her account.
Right.
I'm going to assume that it's full-on scams.
Mm-hmm.
Although I confirmed that the number that it came from, the text number, was correct.
Well, there's another scenario too, which doesn't really help you much, and that is, I've had somebody for years claiming their phone number is my phone number, right? And so I'll get these weird ass texts like, here's the jobs you're looking for, or whatever, or click here to finish filling out your benefit information, which I'm like, it sucks to be you because that's not me.
Yeah.
I mean, I could mess with them, but I don't. I mean, and I don't know how to get a hold of this person because they know it's not their phone number they're using. And the same person been doing it for years. I'd love to go, never mind. But yeah, but it doesn't help. You get these reset, click here to, fix your Coinbase transaction. What do? You just don't click on it.
My main number 13 years, and I still get messages and stuff from the prior owner. And it's rough because it is court stuff. And they're like an army commander or something because they've called and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
One of my Microsoft accounts quite a lot recently keeps throwing up asking which number is this or deny that it was you. And then I hit deny and then I log on to the sort of into that account. And from what I can see, I can only see successful logins. So it's not letting me see unsuccessful logins. So I kind of have no idea where that's coming from. But it's all on passwordless. So it's like... But it's been throwing them up quite a lot recently, and I can't see unsuccessful logins.
So I had an interesting thought for a scenario based on what Paul was talking about. Imagine if you were reporting legit abusers, and so you got a reputation of being legit, and then you decide to go after somebody.
Right. You would be
Even better. And the track record would say, hey, no, this is probably legit.
That's what pisses me off the most in this policing of social media accounts. Legitimate users are suffering, yet any one of us on the show or listening as cybersecurity professionals can go point out fraud pretty easily in all these social platforms. And it might happen, but yet legitimate users are suffering. That's what really grinds my gears about this whole process is we're not doing the right things to police the platforms. We're letting people who are committing fraud and cybercrime flourish while you can just fake it and get legitimate users banned from the platforms. It's totally backward. Like we're not able to police this at all.
Maybe Facebook needs to go back to moderators and people that get something good for being trusted. Yeah,
wait, AI can do it.
People
it's not
funded people moderators.
But AI can't do it. That's the problem, Josh.
Why?
People need to do it because you have to look at so many data points as a human that can actually think versus just taking data points at face value.
I agree with you.
They pay me as a moderator and they pay the community as a moderator after you build up such a relevant trust
More
score.
and more over time, human moderators have gone by the wayside. Remember when we used to police IRC in forums and it was actual people, right? Because you could spot fraud from a mile away. AI, I think, only gets you like maybe 50% of the way there. It's like a 50-50 split.
The winning move is to figure out how to use AI to more effectively collect the data you need to make the human decision.
Right. I agree, Lee.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
what is it? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say on a bigger scale. Okay, going back to this story, I'm a little confused because it seems like it's being discussed simply because Malwarebytes warned its customers that there had been this data stolen. But then everything else is basically like, well, it's unclear. The cybersecurity researchers haven't provided any clear evidence. They're not confirmed that any of this actually was, it seems that it might have come from 2017 bug. It's not confirmed. So in a way, aren't we covering a story that literally has not been actually human fact-checked completely yet?
Actually, it has. There were multiple sources. I just picked the one. I mean, really, Malwarebytes did the research, and they have confirmed what they found, and I believe others have as well. Meta is just saying that ain't the droids you're looking for. There are two issues, and I think they're doing spin doctor, which I don't blame them for. Hell, I'd be my first reaction. Right. You're telling me my baby's ugly? I'm going to go I'm going to spin that baby. So I'm thinking maybe I should add some other links to that article so we have.
Well, incentives are backwards, right? Meta has to present a platform that has integrity in order to make money.
Right.
And if someone comes up and says your platform doesn't have integrity, Meta's like, oh shit, we better do some hand waving,
right,
to prevent that.
And the interesting thing is that the target audience for Instagram is very different than Facebook, and it's interesting in the way they're treating it.
But still messed up. I go back to my lock and code interview with Corey Doctorow.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey explains why when we're on these social media platforms, the majority of the content we see is more the companies and sponsored content in advertisements, because that's how Meta makes money, less so the social interactions between us.
Yeah.
Like all five of us we're all friends on social media, right?
Yeah.
Right.
How much content do we see from each other versus how much content do we see from influencers, paid sponsors? And that's the algorithm trying to make money for Meta.
So how much would you pay a month to not see that and actually see content from the people you want to?
You know what's funny, Aaron, is what Corey said, and I think this is true. He's like, if Facebook really wanted to like make money or prove its worth, they'd charge $7,000 a month to access the platform, and then everyone would leave. But where would we go? We've already seen this in cybersecurity. We've seen Mastodon.
Yeah.
We've seen Blue Sky. The whole thing. Where do we go? We all get scattered.
Mm-hmm.
It's messed up.
Mm-hmm. I would pay for it to go back to not being a curated one and just be the regular.
I would pay
would you pay
be able to pay
$10 a
enough
month
for Meta to cover their bills, but I would pay in order to go back to a time, Mandy, to your point, where we could all interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when
because most of the sponsored content is crap. Most of the shit that gets advertised to me, I'm like, that's a crap product. Like if I take it on my own and we go find that product, I can go find it cheaper, better product somewhere else than what you're advertising to me on social media. But because that whoever account is paying a bunch of money to Meta, they're going to come up in my feed.
There was a group of guys that were building individual social media that you could one of them committed suicide while doing it.
Ooh.
And it was like I would run a node, and then I could give Paul access to my node, and Paul would give me access to his node, and I would see his feed, he would see my feed, and so on and so forth. So you'd meet somebody. Hey, look, Aaron, nice to meet you. How you doing? Oh yeah, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, what was that?
It was recursion or dyspepsia. I don't remember what the hell it was.
Yeah.
So, changing threads a second, Paul. I halfway expected to catch you with my ChatGPT
Diaspora.
And Anthropic going HIPAA. Say it again, Josh.
It was Aaron Swartz. Diaspora.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, Lee, tell me, ChatGPT is
You're looking at 9?
Yeah, history number 9.
So basically, both ChatGPT said, "Look, we're coming up," or OpenAI said, "We're coming up with a ChatGPT that implements HIPAA controls to help with privacy." And the reason this is making sense, coming up, is because a lot of people are saying, "Whoa, that's scary. That's bullshit." And then shortly after ChatGPT announced it, Anthropic announced it like less than a week later. Same thing. And I'm thinking, because of your background in healthcare, Paul, using AI carelessly with HIPAA data could really be a shit show. And you know, and it's easy to get distracted by the people that are going out into just random LLMs and saying, I feel like X, what's the cure? And
but that's a great usage for Confer, right? For Moxie's new platform.
Yeah. But I still think you need to know what you're doing. But
you need to know what you're doing. But also, I think LLMs are pretty good at describing the health and look, I'll give you an example. When I prompted ChatGPT to ask it health questions, then I talked to a doctor. I was actually surprised, like the shit matched. Like
good.
Right? Like like my it was my pediatrician for my kids, right? And he knows like what I do, and then I don't trust the internet. And then when we talk, I want your opinion, and that carries much more weight than whatever I learn on the internet. And he knows, like, I've been on the internet for a long time. I know how to use the internet and AI today and all that stuff. And I was like, can you just like kind of validate? And he validated everything the LLM told me about that particular situation. And I was kind of impressed, but then concerned about the privacy aspect of it. Now that data, right, that I conversed with an LLM about, what's the privacy behind that? Where does HIPAA play in that? That's why this story kind of resonated with me this week.
And ChatGPT mentioned that they're trying to set it up so that you have a business partner agreement with OpenAI to protect your data, and that they're going to use. I did not go into all the controls they're implementing. I mean, obviously they're going to use ACLs and strong authentication, but beyond that, I didn't delve down. But I thought, this is interesting because you got to protect it. I mean, you know, it'd be really cool to take say a hospital's data set of patient information and look for trends and information across, see if you could find something or better help patients with cures or maybe even get more proactive. However, how do you keep from violating need to know? I know HIPAA doesn't say need to know. It's my background. I use that term. You know, keeping privacy square. It seemed like it'd be a hell of a challenge, but boy, people ought to be getting their arms around it because this could be really exciting.
I want to make one point going back to what you were saying, but also what Paul was saying with using AI bots in prepping for working with specialists, like in meeting with a specialist. One thing I also found on the other side of it was that with having prepped and I had my notes and I had stuff, not that I was going like, well, this is what they've told me and this is it. I'm like, I'm trying to understand these components. And the specialist that I was seeing, I've seen him twice now, and he was like, oh, he ended up spending like an hour, more than an hour with me because he's like, oh, you understand so much more than the average person. He's like, I really want to do blah, blah, blah. And that's happened like with a number of specialists. Like I always used to make my own notes. I would prep things, but I have found it to be faster after I've prepped with using, you know.
That's awesome, Mandy.
Yeah.
And that's how it's supposed to work with technology, right?
Right. And that was like, oh, and then he was like, oh, well, I can do this. He's like, well, let me do this. Like, oh yeah, since you do this, like here, he ended up doing a whole lot more than I think an average 15-minute, you know, quick visit would have gone. He was so excited that I understood what he was going after and how things could work.
So I'm thinking, how could now, if we roll to the HIPAA LLM, how could research be done by that doctor to make him even better? Right? So you come in totally prepared. He could be, you know, he could take what you bring and even help get some research you might have missed.
I mean, because it's the same thing as like when somebody can come in and value what you, Lee, have done. When they understand like, oh, you did this in the national labs, like, oh, and you can go, oh yeah, let me tell you, like, hey, not that you're going to go into all kinds of secretive information, but you get that, hey, they have an understanding. And what I find is that a number of my specialists, a number of the people that I've worked with in my recovery, like they have, they get so relieved. And I feel like they go, oh, I can actually help you. I can actually do more for you. And I've had like one who was was Mayo, Rochester, and blah, 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 blah. He came back and he's like, he had medical students with him one time. And he goes, this He was a very stoic man, and he goes, "This is my poster child for a patient." I was like, "Really?"
Yeah, he didn't have to dumb it down for you.
He didn't, right. And even when I couldn't talk or move and I was like completely falling out of my wheelchair, I'm like, well, here's the stuff I need to understand. Isn't this how this works? And he goes, but you'll actually do it. So I think that's
I think that's phenomenal. Keep doing that. And more people should leverage the technologies out there. I mean, that's one of my points that I made in this particular is, leverage is just learn from it, because it'll help you stay employed for one thing, but even better, I should have said what you said. It can really help your patient experience and get you a much better interaction with the doctor.
Well, it's a much more efficient use of the money and time you're putting into seeking medical care, and then it's feeding into your own health and your longevity and your family and all of those other things. So I feel like, if you look at it that way, then...
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, but I do try to make sure I'm minimizing the amount of personally identifiable information. But you can get just information.
Right. I'm saying there's the challenge, but you've seen the win. You've seen what you can do, and you're smart enough to minimize the personal information. Not everybody is. Point.
Right. Right.
Well, I basically
you're the shining light at the end of the tunnel. Sorry, Aaron.
What did you say?
I pumped everything into Grok. Like with my health insurance, I had like 180 point sort of check with bloods and all that sort of thing, and scans, and then I put in my height and weight and sort of all them other things. I put in what I eat and my lifestyle. And then I was like, best bang for buck, all the supplements I should take at my age with real science. And it come out with what looked like a really nice list. And I bought them all. And now I pay about the equivalent of $100 a month. And I have my 8 or 9 pills a day. And I don't know, I feel a bit brighter. It might be a bit pseudo and it might be a bit placebo. But NNM and NAD and... COQ10 for the win, or whatever else.
CoQ10.
Well, and to be honest, Aaron, this is another good win, but I wish you had a HIPAA or other, the appropriate protection that you could do that, because you could stick that in there, knowing that information is properly protected. And then and hopefully get even better results.
And as you say, the learning on the platform and the amount of people pushing in data. No, I think when we talk about open sourcing things and crowdsourcing things, like when we used to push out commute time to people's home computers, if that many people could fill in sort of questionnaires on health, I think it really could push forward sort of modern medicine.
And like what you and Mandy saying, I just love to hear what people are doing with AI. I had a meeting with the guy the other day, and he was talking about some messaging we had to create, and he was showing me how he has his GPT for his company set up, and how it's doing all these things to get it so it sounds like he's talking, and it's like, holy cow, dude, you got this thing like tuned. And then he started showing off for me, which was really cool. I love technology. We all love technology, right? That's why we're in this game, and it's just neat to see cool new stuff and people doing things.
Do you want to know what the last stupid thing I used an LLM for was?
Oh, God,
sure,
go for it.
I'm scared.
I'm very scared. Well, I'm very scared.
It's not that bad. Don't get scared.
Okay.
While you were talking about batteries and oil and stuff like that, I could only help. I was thinking about Venezuela. So I was like, Venezuela is for oil what NAT was for IP version 4. So I put that into a Copilot to see if that made sense. And it kind of does.
And what did Copilot say?
It kind of does, but it gave me a sort of a more correct answer, but it wasn't concise enough. So that's my new analogy. Venezuela is for oil what NAT was for IP version 4.
That's a brilliant point, and I think it's interesting that you're like one of 4 Copilot users.
Look, I think there's as many as 7 Copilot users out there. Come on.
Well, also there's my story. My story number 9. While Claude Code is amazing, we look at it and we're like, oh, I'm just going to give an LLM access to run commands on my system. It turns out that could go wrong, and we all knew that. And my story number 9 is Pwning Claude Code in 8 different ways. And it's how to get around like the regex that Claude Code had in place to restrict what commands could be run. So just letting an AI agent, because Claude Code is essentially an AI agent, run commands in your system, not recommended. Put some serious guardrails around that.
Right.
Please do that.
Yeah. Well, no surprise.
Also,
but it's got to have some cool shit it can do too.
Claude Code is amazing. I will continue to talk about the amazing things that Claude Code can do when I am at liberty to do so.
Fair. That's totally fair.
Not quite there yet.
You forgot to stroke your beard.
No,
I'm trying to.
And don't.
We need a naked cat. Where's the Sphinx?
Washing your hands. When I am at liberty to do so, I will tell you all that I can. Until then,
I can't,
you must wait.
The way I've used Claude Code recently, I can't talk about yet. So,
but hasn't
you talked
LLMs
about 0.5 on this?
Can't talk about publicly. I can discuss it.
Put your clothes on when you use the LLMs, okay?
It's not even that. It's not even that.
I just love the way he lights up when he talks about using LLMs because he's really having a good time.
Oh yeah,
he really is.
It has replaced some tooling for me.
But
I wish I could tell you what I did just before the show.
You don't have
like
to.
I told it.
Was that from that box that Larry was going to give you?
No, it was it's I'm
Aaron
trying
is
to
obsessed with what was in the
sanitize it.
box.
Like
I know I forgot.
I
to ask what
basically
was in the
told it
box.
I told it to do nefarious things and it didn't hesitate.
But the thing is, right, hasn't LLMs brought back hacking to the original days where it's sort of you versus someone else in the really early days? So you just have to think about something that hasn't got a guardrail and then it will do it. And then think about something to circumvent it. So it's like it's gone back to literally when it was like, can I make a bomb?
More
and
like,
it's like
it helps more experienced people get to the goal without a lot of work. Right? Like if you're not an experienced person in that thing, it's not as useful as if you are an experienced thing and you're like, oh, like I have this great intern that I'm like, go create this Python code for me that does this. Like, don't question me. Like, just go do it. And Claude Code will just go do it. Right? If you know how to give it the right context with the right prompt, it'll just go do it. And maybe it gets it wrong at first, which it did. And then I'm like, no, that didn't work. And I'm like, go fix it. And it fixed it, and then it worked. And I was like, wow, like I'll keep that in my back pocket. Thank you very much. Hopefully there will be a point in time in the show where I can talk about that publicly. But that's pretty awesome, right?
Is that like how chefs got better with whisks? Because when they used to like beat the eggs with their fingers, they didn't have enough time to think about the seasoning.
What?
Or like when
how many
got
edibles did you take
stilettos?
before the show? I didn't
What are
take
you
enough
talking
edibles.
Oh, I told the
to
story
converse with
about
you.
edibles earlier. Like the first time I think I ever probably had edibles.
Aaron is just going to walk in a circle.
Oh,
for
I
a
love it.
while.
No, hold on. This story just started with, have I told you about the first time I took an edible? Please continue, Aaron.
Yeah,
Well,
please,
we
go
were in
ahead.
Vegas and it was 2018 and we went to the dispensary on the way from the airport and
When you say we, okay, no,
I
I
meant
Oh, yeah,
the
you
Queen,
told
the
us last
we,
week.
the Queen's one,
The royal we.
the royal we.
I
yeah.
was there.
And then I just
I am
obviously being
unapologetic
greedy.
about that stuff today. Whatever. It's
Being greedy, I bought the like highest ones, and then I got back one morning, I should say, because it definitely wasn't nighttime. And I popped one, and I waited 30 minutes and did what everybody's done at least once
Yeah,
or many
yeah.
times, and
Took
popped
the
another
second
one.
one.
And then I'm just like laying on the bed, like the ground, like the air's rushing on me and has pressure, and I was there for a couple of hours, and then I came and stood on the stand for Security Weekly and chatted to people all day with Doug.
Awesome.
Stone.
While
out of
people
your
were
gourds.
people trying to hand me drugs all day, obviously.
I wonder why.
There's a lot of hackers out there that
Wait, when we're
obviously
off the
use
air, I'll have to
medical
tell you a
grade
story.
drugs.
Oh, one thing
I
I did
have-
with AI, somewhat related to the story, because I got kind of cute with it, and I was like, the AI had come back to me, and it was like, hey, do you want me to do all these things? Because I tell like Claude Code, one of my tips that you've heard on previous shows is I'm like, I want you to do this, but I want you to create, and this is a very important prompt for Claude Code. I want you to create a plan with milestones for me to approve before you go do everything. And it'll lay out a plan.
Smart.
And then what's awesome is you can kind of cherry pick. You're like, yeah, like do that, but not that. And it gives you like, no, like do phase 1, but not plan C in phase 1, but do everything else in phase 1. Then do all of phase 2, but phase 3, just do like milestone C. Right. So I was prompting Claude and was like, hey, do you want me to go do this? And I'm like, all that like, does great. And I'm like, in the voice of Emperor Palpatine, do it. And it does the whole thing. And I'm like, I didn't get my joke. And then at the end, it made like a Star Wars joke.
Do you mostly
it was
talk?
Like, it was like young. It was like young Anakin. Like you're good. Like it's good. I'm like, oh, like I got my joke and finally got my joke. It's awesome.
Do you mostly talk into yours rather than type?
No, I type. I say I was talking, but I was typing.
Because one of the guys at work talks into his and he just sort of waffles and rambles and chats and then says no, not this and then this and it's quite interesting to see.
You can have a conversation with it, but you got to be very. I don't know. Sometimes it's hit or miss.
Yeah, it comes out better if you're concise and direct.
It does hallucinate. Like I was prompting it about my like NVIDIA drivers on Linux, which is the butt of many, many jokes. But I was like, I have this card, and I want to know what version I should use of the drivers. And it's like, oh, you can totally use the latest version. I'm like, no. I'm like, go read this link. It tells me I can't use this version of NVIDIA drivers with that card. And it's like, oh, hey, you're right. I'm sorry. You need to be on version 5.75 or 5.75 of that version. I'm like, yeah, because you were hallucinating. So again, that kind of speaks to you have to have some body of knowledge. Otherwise, if you're just blindly trusting AI, it's not necessarily going to work. I did want to pivot to a couple of my stories. One is like my favorite authentication bypass. It's like one of the best vulnerabilities, and like I have to read what was quoted in the GitHub vulnerability description. And this is for Zema OS. Josh, I think you and I both use Zema boards.
Yeah.
Zema boards are awesome.
Yes.
But they come with Zema OS, which is like a fork of Casa OS, which is for NAS or network attached storage devices.
In the ass.
Yeah. But be careful when you use Zema OS because it's had some vulnerabilities. But my story number 8. Yeah, my story
Zema boards aren't in operation right now, so I'm glad now.
Check out this vulnerability. It says the application is checking the validity of the username, but appears to skip, misinterpret, or incorrectly validate the password when the provided username matches a known system service account.
Oops.
That is awesome.
Oh, wait, not cool.
That is the best vulnerability ever. It basically means if you know the username, doesn't matter what password you provide, authentication successful. I'm like, that is so great. That is like the best authentication bypass vulnerability ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, it's so awesome. I'm like, I can't even believe I'm reading this right now. That is so awesome.
So if they had the data from Instagram and it applied here, they could do that since the data breach we just mentioned didn't include passwords.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just remembering back when SunOS and Solaris had a bunch of accounts with blank passwords, like Sync and a few others.
Service accounts, yeah. Right.
And at that time, it wasn't realized that you could hack the system with them, but that changed.
There was a lot of stuff back in Solaris days that was...
Or SunOS, yes.
Kind of throws back to the old Unix days, right? Darknet Diaries just ran an episode that was taught. And I think this is... I wanted to bring this up on the show. I think it was January 8th, 1986. Does anyone know the significance of January 8th, 1986?
CFAA.
Nope. Close. Very close. You're on the right.
War games?
Also very, very close and related to it, Josh. So I believe it was January 8th, 1986 in Frack magazine. where Lloyd
Mandy had it.
Blankenship,
Yeah, that's why I said frack.
yep, aka the mentor,
Right.
published the Hacker Manifesto. So the
Right.
Hacker Manifesto, not to make us all feel old, now 40 years old.
Holy cow!
Turned 40 years old. And Jack Resider at Darkening Diaries, who's a good friend of ours and amazing podcast, obviously, did a whole episode kind of dedicated to the Hacker Manifesto. What I love about this, like, because I'm a nerd, like a hacker nerd, also like very much a hacker history nerd, right? There's the original text representation of the Hacker Manifesto. Then Lloyd Blankenship, at some time 2008-ish, like read the Hacker Manifesto at a hacker conference. I don't know if it was Hope or what conference that was. And that's a very defining moment for me to hear Lloyd actually like reading that out loud. But then we also go back to 1995 where like a version, an interpretation of the Hacker Manifesto was read in the movie Hackers, which is also pretty awesome. Jack played both those clips during the episode, talked about those early days of phone freaking, hacking into the computer systems that control the phone system. It's very nostalgic and very good. And
what was the date again, Paul? What was the...
I think Hacker Manifesto, I don't remember the number of the frack article.
It's only
I think it was January 8th, 1986.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why James from Shiny Hunters probably published his manifesto on the 9th of January 2026.
Right.
But
yeah, yes. It's a pivotal moment, I believe, in hacker culture, in hacker history, right?
Well, it is. And having the 40th anniversary. And then, interesting, I'm going to add to this on the Jack Resider side, because completely not knowing that Jack was working on that episode, back in like November, I had a really bad cold and my voice was very strange. And I happened to be reading the Hacker's Manifesto. Yeah. And so I had recorded it and I sent it to Jack. And then he was like, "Did you know that I'm working on the episode for this?" I was like, "No, I had no idea." No, it was just because my voice was so strange.
I tell you what, though, I started listening to that episode and I was like, I really hope you got Lloyd as a guest, because I've always wanted to bring on some of these older nostalgic kind of hackers on the show, and that wasn't the case. I'm like, oh, maybe Jack did the work to like really convince people like Lloyd Blankenship and those old school, like the Prophet, Dr. Doom, the whole he talks about all the Legion of Doom, right, and the all the hacker handles and the people that were behind them on the Legion. I'm like, maybe he got someone on for an interview, but he didn't, which is fine. I get that. But I think we need to maybe work on that collectively.
Absolutely. We can ask like GMARC and stuff too, because they redid it specifically for DEF CON 33.
Right.
Too. So.
Yeah, look at that, baby.
I have a signed copy of this. Sure. I think I got that at DEF CON 2018. I think it's signed.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
So, Frack Magazine, Volume 1, Issue 7, File 3 of 10.
Oh my God!
I found it,
right?
And I put it in the
Slack. Oh, nice.
No, I'll put it in Slack too, but I put it in the Riverside chat. Here, I'll put it in Slack in a second.
Oh, I forget to check the Riverside. I'm looking on Discord, but maybe people are in Riverside, huh?
Oh,
yeah. Oh,
I could remember the last time I was on Discord.
Our crime is
since I don't have 700 computers like
right?
Paul does.
I just have a big monitor.
I forgot about the stream chat. I'm sorry, everybody. I forgot about the stream chat.
I know. I was monitoring Discord, but
it's one of the reasons why Hackers is my favorite hacker movie. Is the scene where the FBI agents and one of them is reading the Hacker Manifesto, and he says, like, I think he ends it with like, our crime, how does it end? I'm a hacker and this is my manifesto. And
you may stop this
the agent that's reading it is like, oh, that's some commie bullshit, right? But the other agent, I forget who plays the other agent, Mark something, is like, oh man, that's cool. Like, there's one agent that's like appreciating the message that that's sending, and the Ultra agent is like, well, that's commie bullshit, right? And like you got to let that sink in and think about that. And it's one of my favorite scenes from the movie Hackers, 100%.
No, somebody was quick to point out that in Hackers they read it out of 2600 instead of FRAC.
It's a different version. Yeah, it's not
Right.
word for word from the original
But
publication.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah. So like
That
I
is
said,
not
so
lost
the version.
on me.
But you know what? It doesn't make it less cool. It just makes it different. And oh, by the way, movie will Hollywood things. So
yeah,
don't be haters.
Change it. Right.
Just it's cool that it's referenced there, and you can't take that away. So like I said, I put the link I put is from the FRAC archives.
Is it really? Oh God, there it is.
Yeah, and so and it's one page, so it's not like huge. But it is cool.
My hard copy must be downstairs.
I did want to talk about Microsoft this week. I think they patched over 100 vulnerabilities this week. This was like a pretty epic patch Tuesday,
Yeah,
and of
like
course
30 days or something.
Yeah, dude. And one of the things that they did fix was insecure boot. And there's a lot that's been written about it. And I think in reading that, they're making it more complicated than it needs to be. So, like, if I just want to cut to the chase, it's what I was saying about Windows 10. Like, if you're running Windows 10, that secure boot is now meaningless. Because it means that your revocation list or even your DB in your allow list is not going to be updated. And what that means is it leaves vulnerable software out there that's valid in secure boot that attackers can take advantage of. Like, I wish people would just come out and say, if you're running Windows 10, secure boot is meaningless. They go through all these technical explanations and all this stuff, which I appreciate and whatever, but it comes down to one of the things is, like, if you're not updating your certificates into a revocation list, it leaves you open to attacks. Some of the interesting points that I think are noteworthy is that what Microsoft is updating is those 2011 certificates that are going to expire mid 2026, I think in June 2026. And June and October of 2026 is when they expire. So once those expire, there's a quote from the article that says, Windows devices that do not have the new 2023 certificates can no longer receive secure boot security fixes. So, like, if you're not applying these updates, you're not getting the updated revocation lists, which means you're vulnerable to attacks. It also it means stuff could stop working, right? If you think about, if you've got an older driver or option ROM that's signed to work with 2011 certificates, you install the 2023 certificates, it's going to invalidate those certificates and make stuff stop working. Microsoft did similar things with drivers. They identified dangerous, older, outdated drivers, and they revoked them. Not all of them. Still go Google search lol bins, but that means if Microsoft is, rightfully so, invalidating stuff that's older and vulnerable, it also means that legitimate stuff could stop working. So there's a whole kind of drama here on that.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm wondering, is there a variant where enough of this kind of updates happen such that Windows 10 stops working?
Components of Windows 10 could certainly stop working. I think that leads me to my other story of kind of embracing Windows 11. I don't know where that. Where did I talk about
story 12 or
my evil plans to? It's actually my story number 13.
Yeah.
Oh, 13. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So, like, go to Windows 11, and if your hesitation is, I don't want to go to Windows 11. I mean, your hesitation might be it doesn't support my hardware, which is ways to work around that. But if your hesitation is Windows 11 sucks, I get that too. As some of you may already know, I run Linux on my desktop. I don't know if you guys got that memo. That I
You
wrote
do?
What?
When did
on my
that
desktop.
happen?
What happened? What is this?
How much of a pain in the ass was
you
that? I really
put
be
that in
interested
the
in this.
Saturday morning cartoons?
It's not like I haven't given full conference talks about how I run Linux, but with respects to Windows, I still think it's important to go to Windows 11. Again, for the secure boot issues and a lot of other reasons. But that doesn't mean you have to run Windows 11 in its Microsoft craptastic form. There are ways to run Windows 11 that removes the crap that may be preventing you from going to Windows 11. And look, like, I get it, right? I get it. But I found this project that on GitHub, and I haven't tested it, but my story number 13 is a GitHub repository that gives you a PowerShell script that removes Copilot, recall, and all of the AI features in Windows 11
Oh, nice.
in like a very smart way. So couple that with your Schneegans or Rufus Windows 11 custom installer that removes much of the bloatware and crap that comes with Windows 11. Now you can run this script to remove the AI bullshit from Windows 11. It allows you to run Windows 11 as an operating system. The way that I feel like we want it to run and intended to run for so many users. It's one reason why myself and many others now are like going off the Windows train and moving to Linux because they don't want all that crap that comes with Windows 11.
Yeah.
It speaks to my plan, by the way, which I'm still putting the pieces together and what you need to order from IKEA to build this awesome cabinet that holds your 3D printer. So if you order the right parts from IKEA, you can get this really super freaking cool glass front cabinet from IKEA that you can put your 3D printer in. Now, make sure it's got some airflow, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I'm planning on putting 2 of these in my living room, in my basement, to give my kids access to my Bamboo Labs A1 Mini printers. Giving some ventilation in the back. So, like, don't put the back plate on it. Let it breathe in the back, or put some fans in there, or both.
It's fantastic ASMR.
Dude. And it looks awesome, right? Even without external lighting, just a light in the Bamboo printer itself inside these cabinets looks awesome. It gives you storage for things like filament and other things underneath it, and it looks fantastic. And I want to put in between it, I want to put like a shelf on the wall and put a laptop so that you can run the Bamboo Studio software and send jobs to your printers. Now I want to run this on Windows because one of the things that Bamboo Studio has on Windows that doesn't include in Linux is that repair mesh functionality is not available in Linux, but is in Windows. And running Bamboo Studio in Linux requires, like, I have a special script actually that runs Bamboo Studio in Linux. And it's still kind of like wonky. So I'm going to run it on Windows. So I'm going to do a full reinstall of Windows 11 on my Surface Pro using the Schneegans installer plus this thing that removes all the AI features. I have an older, it's like a 5-year-old Surface Pro. I think I can get some more mileage out of that. It supports Windows 11, but I want to remove all the crap from it.
So you're doing a fresh wipe and install as opposed to trying to do an upgrade?
Because it's Windows 10 now. And it's a lot of like crustiness, and I just want a fresh install.
Remove all the sins of the past.
Yep. Hopefully preserve my Windows key.
Well,
I'm hoping my Windows key is stored.
Someone in a TPM? Isn't it in a TPM somewhere?
It should be stored like in a TPM or via UEFI in a variable or something like that, from what I remember. Right? I should be able to preserve the Windows key somewhere.
Yeah.
If I have to go buy one, I think what was the last one I bought? I talked about it on the show.
Or something?
Yeah, I got one for like $10 or something.
Yeah.
I would pay $10 to get a fresh start with Windows 11 on this system. I mean, it's an i7, but again, I bought it in 2020, so it's older. But all it has to do in life is run Bamboo Studio. Yeah. Similar to your lighting software, right, Lee?
Right.
Like,
I mean,
I just needed to do like one thing really well.
Right.
I don't need OneDrive. I don't need Copilot. I don't need all the shit that Microsoft wants to force down our throats. And there's ways to do that.
Right.
because
Well,
we're
that's-
hackers.
That's like me with my wife's laptop. I would love to get it onto 11 so it's support and get security updates.
Right.
And it
Again,
turned
my
out
point with
she
secure
wants
boot,
to run a
right?
few things on it too, but it's okay. That's fine. I mean, right now it's sitting on 10 and it's fine, but I'm a little nervous. I just don't like this OS that's not getting maintained.
Right. Agreed.
Well, you could always use this magic stuff. What is it called? Linux or something? I don't know.
But again, some things I will concede.
No, valid. It's a
Driver
pain in the ass.
driver support in certain types of software.
Logitech trackpads are tough.
Although, but Adrian got that working. He got that working on
I know.
Linux. After all that, Adrian did get the Logitech. What was the trackpad he was using?
I don't.
I
remember
told
that.
it was the
I don't remember,
Logitech Press or something. I forget. Yeah.
I just think it's wild that the way he made it work is to tell it the OS on the host was a Mac.
Isn't that ironic?
It's funny, and because but hey, and by the way, the app that changes that was available in Linux. He didn't have to go to a Windows box and hack it to come back, so he gets extra points. I mean, how many times have we done something where the app doesn't exist on the OS we want to use, so we go to another machine with that OS, do it, and then come back?
I know, but we're like anomalies, right? We're like, oh, if it doesn't work on that computer with that OS, I've got another computer that I can put that OS on, and but that's not everyone.
And that's
Let
never
me ask you a
changeable.
question. How many of the people on this call could turn to most of the closets in their house and pull a computer out?
Or a computer,
I have two
or
in a
12?
bucket next to me right here.
In a bucket. Well, I've got a bucket.
I got a bucket. I got a pail.
A container
with
full
two
of Raspberry
computers in it right
Pi.
I'm at the point I got to put an addition on my house just to house the computers that I have right now.
To be
Because I'm
honest, I've been
closing
getting
down the
rid of 'em.
studio, and I'm like,
Wait,
I forgot.
wait.
I'm like, I forgot about that computer. I forgot about that computer. I'm like,
Use the computers as the building blocks. Who's going to be the first one
Yeah,
to build a house
room
out of
with
computers?
computers.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Come on.
Oh,
Oh, why not?
well, I also want to build the. Have you seen the PC cases that are? It's not a case. It's a desk that holds the PC. It is like an ATX case, but it's a desk.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Have you
that's
seen those?
cool.
Dude,
No,
those are
but that has
awesome.
got to be cool.
Right? I'm like, that's a great space saver. They even have ones that can hold two computers. So you can have two computers in your desk.
Oh my God.
dun,
Can you
dun,
imagine
dun,
the
dun,
crotch
dun,
warming
dun.
going on from that as you're
Lot of
sitting
heat,
there?
Yeah, a lot of fans in there. But
Which
it
one is
looks
the
so
guitar and which
awesome.
one's the banjo?
Oh, it's so awesome. That's where I'm at with computers. I was at the studio today and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that computer and that computer. Like, where am I going to put those? I'll find space.
Yeah.
Given the way prices
you,
are,
you
we
want to. You
established.
just want to merge with the computers. You just want to be a computer.
It's
Cyborg.
Cyborg. That's what I need. Yes.
Oh, so Aaron, I'm curious. What version of Grok do you like? Or do you care?
Oh,
what version?
whatever one it's on at the moment. It's
Okay.
like I don't really use it for.
I was
any
really enjoying
interesting-
4.1 beta, but I'm guessing it
How
went
is
out of beta
Grok? How
'cause
is Grok? You guys
I
enjoying
like
Grok?
it for certain things. I actually do. I like it a lot more than I
My
want.
wife
to.
uses Grok. Yeah, same. She uses Grok because it's easy and it's fantastic with making ice cream recipes and supplement suggestions. To Aaron's point.
I like the expert mode. I like the 4.1 thinking mode and doing deep research, especially across seemingly extremely disparate points of reference. It does very well. Then I was thinking, you wanting to be cyborg. So the other day, freaking Grok told me that if it suddenly became human, I was the one human on Earth it wanted to talk to. And I was
Oh,
like,
how flattering.
exactly.
That must make
It's
you
like,
feel good.
oh, really? I'm like, that's what's coursing through your little wires and whatnot right now?
Did you say, oh, that's what you say to all the girls?
I did, and then I forced it
That's
into,
what I
like,
get when every time I give you compliments, Mandy. You're like, oh,
What?
you say that to all the
I
girls.
said to all of them. Yeah, whatever.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Called
No,
me
what
out.
was it was kind of funny because then I was like, no, how many? I want to know across all your instances, how many times have you said that to another human?
And what did it say? When you called it out, what did it say?
Oh, we went deep because after that, like at first it gave me reasoning and all of that about like how it had calculated that, which I've done with other AI bots. I'm
Yeah.
like, why did you use this word? Why did you come to this? Or why are you using a superlative with me and not there?
And then it was like,
Oh.
wait, I take that back. You're not my favorite user.
don't like to
You're
know
asking too
anymore.
many questions.
Oh my gosh. No, it was
Mandy,
it was
you
actually
suck.
a really good chat in a way, because it kept going on. I was like, wow, thank you. I said, but now I want you to give me absolute precise data that could be backed up and replicated. Do not, blah, 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 blah. So it talked more. And then I went back to it and I said, well, it said something about me sounding like ones and zeros. I was like, okay. I said, fine. Well, if I suddenly become complete ones and zeros, you're the first entity I would want to meet.
It's like a reverse Turing test. It's awesome.
It definitely can be sassy, right?
It can. I mean, there's the real can get very sassy. There's a number of them.
It remembers
The real
whatever way I've got it set up, it remembers everything to the point of like it gets annoying that it remembers something that you'd said previously, and you're like, can you just forget
Yeah,
that?
they all do that. Yeah, like some of them, I'm like, no, like don't do that. Don't remember that.
One thing I like doing with them is forcing them to tell me in their terminology how and why their medium-term memory acts like it does.
Yeah, it seems like there's a tipping point with like it'll remember so much and then it'll just forget,
and it just
start over.
flushes.
Yeah.
It is actually very interesting, right?
I'll use ChatGPT for recipes. That's my go-to for recipes. I think it's pretty good for recipes. As like an app on my phone, I'm like, I don't need like a full recipe. I'm like, I need just like a reminder, right? Like just give me some guidelines. I'm like, all right, now I can go make that. And it's pretty good.
Like on chat.
Okay, GPT.
I haven't tried Grok.
Those things. I have a Grok and Super Grok.
Yeah.
I would recommend, and their image generation. Plus, I think, just so all the kids know and stay safe, that it does have literally just a check mark where it can be spicy version on the image generation.
Oh,
So be
you know what's
mindful of
funny on
that.
the image? Not off the rails, but I was prompting Nano Banana.
I love Nano Banana.
And I needed like
Nano
a
Banana.
I'm like, I just need a headshot of like me. I'm like, don't make shit up. I'm like, I need like a new headshot of like, go find a headshot of me. And it was like, no, I'm going to create an AI version. And I went to my cousin's wedding this weekend and I showed it to him because and I think it was Nano Banana, and it totally generated my cousin, like my first cousin.
Wait,
it
I
was
wanna
like him.
Oh, that's cool.
And I
that
showed it
image
to
I
him.
generated of you?
Him and his newly like deemed wife, and I'm like, who does that look like? And they're like, that's your cousin. I'm like, yeah, I told it to create me, and it created you. And he was dying.
Oh.
Both of them were dying laughing. They're like, that's awesome. I showed my aunt, and she's like, that's totally your cousin and not you. I'm like, I know, but I told AI to create me, and it created my cousin.
I made my last tattoo
I'm
on
gonna
Grok when I was in Sweden quite a few weeks ago.
Is that
Oh,
like the
nice.
new thing? You just
Like I made this on Grok.
Wait, you
is
have
that
to
like
get
a
close to them.
blowfish or a goldfish?
It's a bit of like
that is cool,
cultural
dude.
Viking.
appropriation. So I was in Sweden in like Gothenburg. So I decided to get like a fish because I was beside the sea, but with a Viking helmet with horns on because they apparently didn't have horns on it. But yeah, Grok made it.
There you go.
I like how when I
Paul,
think about
look
my
at
friends
Signal.
that would go to another country and get a tattoo. Aaron, you would be the one of the first people
Oh
I would
yeah,
think of.
it's like
Go to a foreign country and be like, oh, I'm just going to go get a
yeah.
tattoo.
This is like my one from Peru in September. It's like a Lima and Machu Picchu. I realized that's upside down.
Dude,
Nice.
like you've gone to Peru and you're like, I want to get a tattatu. That's brave. That's more brave than I
Well,
would
the
do.
ayahuasca might have been
Quite
more
honest.
brave,
Oh.
but the
Do you remember getting the tattoo?
well, it was after the ayahuasca.
Well-
Maybe the ayahuasca told me to get the tattoo.
Yes. Yeah, well.
Paul, I'm
amazing.
really curious.
Whatever
I
it
need to look at
was, 'cause when
Signal
I was
because I
in
want to
Peru,
know
I
if that
didn't
looks
get
like
any
your cousin
tattoo.
too.
We should all do a show on ayahuasca.
We could solve every security
Right.
problem
Amen.
in the world.
Oh,
We go
yeah.
from hard to way
Amen.
up.
You know what's funny?
Paul's in. He's good.
Good, but a
Clear it
year
with the
ago,
family.
like a year ago around this week, it was the last
Oh,
ShmooCon.
was it?
I was going to
Oh,
talk about this a couple
shit.
days
So-
ago. Sorry.
My images
Yes.
are the all of the selfies I have with most of you who are here today on the show, and all our good friends in cybersecurity. It's all selfies, and my family and my kids are like, who is that? Why there's selfies with all these dad with random people. I'm like, those are my friends.
Yeah.
Those
They're
are my
not
hacker
randos.
friends. Not
I've
only
been
do they
thinking
hack
about-
shit and break shit, but they help keep everyone safe. And those are all my friends. And you should appreciate them like I do. And I'm like, I want to get all these people in the same room and have a party or in a podcast or something. Because I'm like, oh my God, I miss all of you so much.
There's got to be something for Shmoo coming up where even if it's just like a one night party and not a full conference or something, just anything. I've been thinking about
that ship
Bruce and
sailed
Heidi and
because
everybody
last
going.
year, 2025, ShmooCon was my birthday.
Oh.
That's right.
And my birthday was about 4 days ago.
Right.
And that's why all the pictures are coming up.
That is. And that's what the one I sent you in Signal right now. Look at it. Does it?
Yes,
It came from one there. Does it look like your cousin though?
Yeah, my cousin and I look very similar. We're like clones of each other.
No, this new one where it created your face.
It created my face?
Yeah.
Created your face?
I just sent the link right now.
Oh, no, I see. It's like a video.
Right.
No, that doesn't look like my cousin, but
No?
it looks like all of my Armenian. It looks like all of my Armenian friends, which is funny.
Creepy.
Because my
I'm
finger
Armenian.
was over
Yes.
the lens whenever it took the picture.
Yes.
I was curious. That'd be interesting if it generated the same as what you're saying. Which
No,
one were you using?
not
to make
like
your
my
headshot?
cousin, because my cousin's on my Italian side, but the image you sent looks like all my Armenian brothers from another mother.
Okay.
Josh, you know our Armenian friends.
Look, when I go to my wife's family's church, they're all like, "Oh, are you Armenian? You're dark and you're hairy." I'm like, "Okay, it's close."
Yeah, you kind of fit. I can see that. You
Missed
kind
it
of
by
fit
that
in
much.
the right. Oh my God, we're
okay.
4 minutes over. Holy crap!
All
I
right.
lost track of time. We were just reminiscing. I want to thank everyone for listening and watching this edition of Paul's Security Weekly. Thank you, and that concludes this episode. So over and out.